Happy Valentine's Day, Buff fans. Welcome to this week's Go Buffs Live Sports show. I'm Colby Wyatt.
And I'm Kieran Warger. We're the perfect pair for this holidays episode, and we've been finishing each other's
sentences. We have a lot to go over.
So, let's get started.
Buffs women's hoops traveled to Iowa State to start the week with leading scorer Frida Foreman being out for the third consecutive game. The Cyclones were a tall task for Colorado. The Cyclones got off to a hot start with a 29-9 lead at the end of the first. The Buffs were not able to recover, trailing by double digits for the rest of the game. Iowa State center Audie Crooks dominated, scoring 33 points. Ultimately, the Buffs lost 86-55.
In their second game of the road trip, the Buffs went to Salt Lake City to take on the Utes. Plagued by injuries once again, Colorado fell behind early with a dominant 17-0 run by Utah. With another double-digit deficit after the first quarter, the Buffs were forced to play catch-up for the rest of the game. The Buffs managed to cut their 20-point deficit to 4, but Utah responded with a 7-0 run at the end of the first half and never looked back. Tabitha Benson led Colorado with a career high of 15 points, while Leo Garzón added 13. The Buffs ended their road trip with 2 losses, falling to Utah 77-60.
The Buffs look to bounce back from their road trip tomorrow against Houston. The Cougars are among the worst in the Big 12, with only 1 conference win. Colorado has been dominant at home in Big 12 play, with an undefeated record through 6 games. Houston comes into the matchup having lost 7 straight. This could be a great opportunity for the Colorado team to get back on track.
The Big 12 action doesn't stop there, as the final game to watch next week is one of the biggest games remaining on the Buffs' schedule, as they look to score another top 25 upset to continue their winning ways at home against a red-hot Baylor Bears team. The Bears currently sit ranked number 25 in the country, as they head into next week, riding the momentum over a huge 85-75 win over previously ranked number 18, West Virginia. Depending on the results of Baylor's next game against Texas Tech, our Buffs could potentially be hosting a Baylor team ranked in the top 20. The Buffs' defense will be the X factor in this matchup, as they will have to find a way to slow down Baylor's fast-paced offense. Baylor also has 5 players averaging 10-plus points per game on the season, so limiting their scorers will be a key factor for the Buffs to come out with a W. Don't miss tip-off next Wednesday at 7 p.m. on ESPN+.
The men's team, on the other hand, fell to the Houston Cougars last Saturday. Here to recap the game is our very own Max Friedel.
Hello everybody, my name is Max Friedel and I'm here at the CU Event Center shortly after the number 5 Houston Cougars came into Boulder and beat the Colorado Buffaloes 69-59. The Buffs now stand 0-12 in conference play, 9-14 on the regular season. Some stars for this game were Julian Hammond. He shot 7 for 13 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3. Kelvin Sampson, Houston's head coach, quoted, "Julian Hammond's 5 shots, howitzers, big time shots. Houston's Juwan Roberts was very efficient today, 9 for 11 from the field. He had 20 points. But Colorado's keys to this game were their ball security and rebounding, 2 things that didn't really go their way this game. They let up 15 offensive rebounds to Houston. Houston, obviously, a good rebounding team throughout the season. But Colorado has been improving with their turnovers. They only had 6 first-half turnovers, finishing the game with 12 total. However, CU did shoot slightly worse than Houston, 41% to 48%. And Tad Boyle mentioned that the key to today's game was the points in the paint. Houston outscored Colorado 42-20 in points in the paint. However, the CU Event Center atmosphere was as loud as it's been, maybe one of the most packed games that we've seen this season. Almost 7,500 fans showed up. Also, second half, Houston did miss 2 free throws in a row. So if you do have a ticket to this game or a credentialed pass, make sure to go pick up your free Shake Shack tomorrow. CU will take on Kansas next Tuesday on February 11th. But yeah, that's all from the CU Event Center. My name is Max Friedel, reporting for Scobo Sports. Remember, you heard it here first.
In even more surprising fashion, men's hoops lost again to the 17th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks on Tuesday. Colorado held on early, but quickly gave up the lead, ending the first half down 14 points. The closest the Buffs would get to a 6-point deficit early in the second, but Kansas extended their lead back to double digits. The Jayhawks would ultimately get the dub 71-59.
The Buffs will look to claim their first conference win on Saturday when they play UCF. The Buffaloes met the Black Knights earlier in the season, where UCF took a late lead to win by a point. UCF enters the bout tomorrow with one of the league's elite scorers. UCF's Keyshawn Hall averages 19 points per game on 45% shooting. Colorado will look to combat Hall's performance by limiting turnovers and winning the rebound battle. Make sure you are in the CU Events Center tomorrow. Tip-off is scheduled for 1 p.m.
Before that game against UCF, the team will be hosting Buffs alum Derek White on the Wall of Honor. The star NBA player is one of the most prolific athletes of Colorado alumni, having won an NBA Finals and Olympic gold medal last summer. White is a proud local alum, being recruited out of Legend High School in Parker to the UCCS Mountain Lions. For his final collegiate year, he transferred to the fellow CU system school, CU Boulder, in 2016. In his one season as a Buffalo, he made the 2016 Pac-12 All-First Team, All-Pac-12 Tournament Team, and Pac-12 All-Defense Team. Head coach Tad Boyle said the Wall of Honor is long overdue and serves as a testament to the success of men's basketball players as they leave the University of Colorado.
Following Derek White's Wall of Honor, men's hoops travels to Iowa State on Tuesday. This will likely be another long game for the Buffs, as the Cyclones are the 10th ranked team in the country and are competing for a Big 12 title. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, streamed live on ESPN+.
And now it's time for this week's trivia question. With the Buffalo's disappointing season coming to a close, our question for you is, when was the last time the Buffs men's basketball team finished a season below 500? Stay tuned for the reveal later in the show.
Who wants to do basketball? Who wants to do football? Who wants to do soccer? Who wants to do volleyball?
That's so sick. Did Christian just say that?
Videography. Anyone want to do that?
Currently ranked 20th in the nation via the media polls. They're the only team from the Big 12 nationally ranked as they look to dominate the conference in its inaugural women's lacrosse season.
After a tough fight, women's lacrosse fell to number 15 Stanford on Thursday. The Buffs opened the season ranked 21st themselves, but could not outlast the Cardinal. The final score was 10-15 out in Stanford, California, and the Buffs started out firing before the flame went out in a second half. As attackers Madeline Pisani and Tegan Ryan each recorded a hat trick for the Black and Gold. It was a disappointing loss, but certainly one to build on.
Staying in California, the Buffs look to capture their first win facing off against the USC Trojans. They will meet a former Pac-12 foe. The teams tip off at 2 p.m. Sunday at California Memorial Stadium. In their previous meeting a year ago, the Buffs defeated the Trojans 12-9. Defending home turf, it will be crucial for the Buffs to score early and often. A win could help jumpstart the season.
Over the weekend, the Colorado Alpine team absolutely dominated at the Utah Invitational. On Sunday, Lewis and Acambre and Etienne Mazilier both won their Grand Slalom races. On Monday, for the men's side, Philip Walquist made history, becoming the first Buff to win 8 career slalom races. He extended his win streak to 6, remaining undefeated in his slalom this season. On the women's side, Katie Flickenstein finished with a career-best 8th place finish. Colorado held on to second place with 569 points, just behind Utah. The Nordic team also had an impressive weekend at the Denver Invitational in Midturn, Colorado. Johannes Flatten led the men's team with a second-place finish in the 10K. The women's team took 2 of 3 spots on the podium, with Tilda Bangman in second, followed by Astrid Lund in third. The team maintained a strong game heading into the season's final stretch.
With the regular season coming to a close, the Alpine Buffs will compete at the RMISA Championships in Alaska next week. We expect a strong competition as the team continues to show their dominance. The Nordic team will head to Alaska this week, competing in the UAF Invitational before preparing for the RMISA Championships in Anchorage next week.
The tennis team gets the week off after sweeping the New Mexico Lobos last Saturday. The team stands at 5-1, a great start to the spring season. After this bye week, they travel to Las Vegas for a busy 2 days, taking on UNLV the 21st before Penn State on the 22nd.
The track and field team are spread out across America for the weekend. With only a couple opportunities left, athletes are trying to make the push to be top 16 in their event to qualify for nationals. The distance team goes back to Boston University, where they saw great success just a couple weeks ago. The sprinters travel to Texas Tech to feel out the location of the Big 12 Championship. And finally, the multi-event team and throwers stay here in Colorado, traveling to UCCS for the weekend.
The women's golfers finished 6th at the San Diego Classic earlier this week. The team was led by senior Maria Haro, who finished the tournament 2 strokes over par and tied at 13th place on the individual leaderboard. Despite shooting 16 over par as a team, the Buffs were only 5 strokes out from 3rd place. Read more about the team's performance on our website.
The men's golf team is gearing up to start their spring season. The Buffs' first tournament is in California at the Prestige at PGA West. The 3-day event will start on Monday and conclude with the final round on Wednesday. The squad is ranked at 36th in the nation, with 1 win and 5 top 3 finishes so far this season. Colorado has 6 tournaments to prepare for the Big 12 Championship in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
To no one's surprise, the Colorado men's Division II hockey team is continuing their postseason run. After a heartbreaking 3-1 loss to Denver last weekend, the Buffs sit at number 6 in the ACHA Division II West Regionals. The Buffs will face the highest remaining seed in the West following the conclusion of the lower-ranked games. Catch the Buffs on Friday, February 21st at the Ice Center at the Promenade in Westminster.
Continuing with hockey, the D1 Buffs traveled to Norman, Oklahoma last weekend to take on the Sooners. Night 1 was a dominant game for the Buffs with a final score of 6-3. The Sooners would respond early on night 2 with 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. The Buffs put up a great fight but fell short of a victory with a final score of 4-3. The Sooners and Buffs still sit neck and neck in the WCHL rankings at number 2 and number 3 respectively.
With 2 weeks left in the regular season, the Buffs are back in Boulder this weekend to take on the Bears of Missouri State. The Bears hold the number 8 spot in the WCHL with a 12-14-2 record on the season. Puck drop is set for 8 p.m. on Friday and 7 p.m. on Saturday. And if you can't make it to the rec, catch this weekend's action live on our YouTube channel, ScoBuff Sports.
Last weekend, the women's hockey team took a trip to Phoenix. They went head-to-head with Grand Canyon University for 2 days in a row. In the first game, CU took the Antelopes by the horns and won with a score of 6-2. But unfortunately, they couldn't keep a hold on them the next night, losing 2-0.
This is the perfect weekend to get out and support women's sports. CU has 2 home games against the University of Denver, so show up and show out, whether you're celebrating Valentine's Day with your significant other or hiding from the holiday altogether. To start off these matchups, the Buffs play today at 5 p.m. Mountain Time right after this show, and tomorrow the 15th another game will follow, but at 4 p.m. Both games will be at the CU Rec Center Ice Rink, and if you can't be there in person, we will be streaming the games right here on the ScoBuff Sports YouTube channel.
go Buffs! Thank you.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Mia Driscoll here with this week's Rapid Fire. We have a big weekend full of events coming up featuring a variety of talented teams. Starting us off today, the track team is competing at both the Henry Valentine meet in Boston, Massachusetts, and the Jarvis Scott Invitational in Lubbock, Texas. The Invitational will continue through Saturday with another sector of the team competing at the Mountain Lion Open in Colorado Springs on Saturday as well. If you're looking to attend a game in town, you're in luck as both men's and women's basketball teams will play at the CU Event Center this Saturday, February 15th. The men will take on UCF at 1 p.m. to start off the Boulder game day, while the women have another Big 12 matchup against Houston, tipping off just a few hours later at 6 p.m. Finally, closing out the weekend, the ski team will compete in the Classic Sprints in Fairbanks, Alaska on Sunday. Also on Sunday, the number 21 ranked lacrosse team will have a top 25 matchup versus the number 24 USC Trojans in California. The Buffs opened their season just yesterday against the number 15 team in the country, Stanford. I'm Mia Driscoll, and that's all for Rapid Fire.
It's time to reveal this week's answer to our trivia question. As a reminder, earlier we asked you when was the last time the Buffs men's basketball team finished a season below 500. The answer is, drumroll please, during the 2015-2016 season. The Buffaloes finished their season 16-18.
It's time for today's Tweet of the Week. Coach Prime took to social media following Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance. He praised the show after Lamar came out in Deion's Nike Air DT Max shoes. Sanders said he was proud of the performance and that Kendrick represented well.
Well, that's about all we have for you this Valentine's Day.
We'll be lonely without you guys, but we'll feel better if you like and subscribe.
That way, you'll know when we go live next Friday. But anyways, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, yes, it has. And as always, it looks like it'll be a fun week of sports here at CU.
Have a good weekend, Buff fans. And as always,
you heard it here first.